Alright, part 3, watching paint dry. Island of Blood, Prince Althran of the High Elves. This is the guy on the Griffin. So here we go with them all assembled. This is prior to any primer or anything. This is just put together and cleaned up some mold lines. And obviously put some sand on the base. It's just regular GW sand with a bit of the slate from the basing kit. There's a nice big mold line where the two halves of the Griffin join on its back. Other than that, there's not really anything to worry about, and that can be filled up easily with some green stuff. So to start out, I spray painted this guy with some gray primer. Nothing special about that. Did that after it was all assembled. So first thing I started on was all the wings. So I did these two sort of tones. The middle area here is just the primer. I didn't really do the base coat of that any different color. Outside here I used Reaper shadowed stone, and that was going to be the base coat for that. The idea was I was going to give all this a black wash, a watered down black wash to shade it. And so I basically followed the same delineation of the coloring as the GW did the heavy metal stuff. So you can just see these different sections here, just alternating colors basically. Now we have the starting the base coat on the Griffin. I used the same color on the talons, or on the feet, the front feet, as I did in the back feet. And the way I differentiate that later on is just using some different washes. Here we go with Griffin Sepia wash. I believe that's that one there, and then this one back here is the Althran Flesh wash, GW. And you can see also in here the feathers are all wet. It did that with a watered down Bad black wash. And you can see the wash on the feathers a bit darker. Also you can see I've added some mithril silver here and then given it a black wash. So I did the silver first and then added the black after. And that was basically all I needed for to get the silver parts the way I wanted them. Just touching up the mithril silver a little bit later on. Now we've started on the gold. This is just Palomino gold from the Reaper range, and that's going to be my base coat for the gold, and I'm just going to work that up and down with a bit of washes. So next will be a Devil in Mud wash. You see there's a bit of gold back here too. Not too many different colors on here, which makes the guy paint up really fast, surprisingly, even though there's lots of detail. Okay, so you can see this, the Devil in Mud. See how it pools in all the areas. All the extra raised and lowered bits on there really help the Devil in Mud settle. And you can see it's dried, and you can even see it's already started giving me the highlights I want. And all I have to do is just pick those out with the different gold tones. And obviously starting to add the blue. That's just the Reaper Sky Blue. Here you can see I'm starting to add the different shades on the feathers. I had a bit of a problem with the black here. It didn't quite flow in the parts I wanted. I think I watered it down just a touch too much, so I had to go back and touch that up after. But you can see in this middle section here, I'm just starting to add highlights just to the raised areas. I ended up doing that in 2 steps. I also tried to feather out a bit. You can see here just a little bit of lines. These feathers are actually quite smooth, just with the middle part giving you the texture, and these little bit of chunks sort of taken out. For the most part though, they are quite smooth. Obviously these big ones back here, you can see all the different bits, but these ones right here, there's absolutely no detail, which is fine. There's no issue there. Just means you either shade it and highlight it better, or you can add that a little bit with your brush strokes. So here we go. Just so you can see all the extra detail I'm adding there, just to help things stand out a bit. Okay, now I'm starting to work on the gold. You can see here how I've added sort of the highlights on there, just sharpening up the edges and kind of trying to follow where I think the non-metallic gold, well, this non-metallic technique, but try to simulate how it would actually reflect if it was a metallic paint. You see the same thing here. I'm just kind of following out around these areas. I don't know if I'm following the proper rules, but doing this quick, and this actually goes a lot faster, I would say, than painting on metallic gold once you kind of get down a technique. Sure, it may not be quite 100% accurate, but it looks quite nice, I think, and it's quite easy to do. And here I've got the buckskin pale, which is the third color in the Reaper Triad, in the Palomino Gold Triad, and that's just for the edges here, and that just helps everything stand out a bit more and look a bit more metallic. Adding some detail to these talons here, and using the same colors on the bird's beak. Also on here, this is actually the same color as the gold, just using a bit different edge highlights, not quite going as harsh, and it ends up looking a bit different, but also looking kind of a similar color. So yeah, these here are blue-black kind of color, and they're going to get a black wash later to tone them down a little bit. One of the last things I did was add all these spots here. Kind of difficult to get them to look right, but that's just GW scorched brown painted in kind of horseshoe shapes all around. Also, you can see some of the red here. Did all the gemstones. That's just the base coat of Reaper red ink, and highlighted with some blood red from GW and some blaze orange from GW. And then also on the gems, just a white spot at the very top of it. And that's basically it. This guy actually paints up very fast. There's only a couple colors, and if you can work out a way to do the feathers fast, then he'll be done before you know it. Also, just to note, the eyes, I did those sort of a turquoisey color. There'll be a picture later on that shows that a bit better. But anyways, a very impressive model, going to be a centerpiece of any army, and actually surprisingly easier to paint than you would think. So you can see just the gemstones, not too many of them, just a standard technique, and the blue color there just helps contrast some of the golds and whatnot. There's the eye in there, just using the same idea as a gemstone, painted a darker base color, highlight the bottom, and put a white dot on the top. Thanks for checking it out. You can check out my blog at it'slikeWatchingPaintDry.blogspot.com, and this was painted for miniwargaming.com. You can go over there and check out all their stuff. There's a link in the description below.